Hey everyone! In this tutorial I will show you how to create the beautiful HILLGATE floral smoked baguette. This bag is a stunning addition to any festive outfit and makes a great, unique handmade gift for your loved ones. It requires only half a meter of fabric, so it's the perfect scrap project. The pattern comes with a shoulder bag, crossbody bag, clutch and toiletry bag version. You can find the pattern and list of materials in the description below, so let's get started. First, cut all the pattern pieces and transfer all markings and notches as indicated on the pattern. If you find that your fabric of choice easily frays, make sure to secure the sides of each piece with an overlocker or zigzag stitch. After cutting out the floral smocking strip, we have to transfer the crosses as indicated on the pattern to the front or good side of the fabric with an erasable pen or tailor's chalk. In my case, I actually ended up transferring the grid to the back side, as I'm working with silk and found the fabric to be sensitive to the tip of the pen. The method and result, however, remain the same as working from the front. You can tape the fabric to the table for this step, which will prevent it from potentially slipping. As you will note, this is a grid with 1 by 1 inch squares. It will be easiest to draw this 1 by 1 inch grid on your fabric using a ruler. I personally like to keep the pattern piece next to it, following the grid lines on the pattern. This way I can ensure I'm not accidentally adding a few millimeters here and there. Once the grid has been transferred, we can add the crosses as indicated on the pattern. The grid is now ready to start the smocking. I'm aware quite some of my followers know this technique by now. However, if you are unfamiliar with the floral smocking technique, please watch the in-depth tutorial which I have created on this technique. You will find this linked in the top right corner of this video or in the description below. The video will walk you through all the steps you need to complete the floral smocking strip. One thing to note is that when creating flowers next to each other, it is important the petals of the flowers which have already been smoked are properly shaped and the petal ends are facing in an upwards direction. This will prevent petals from folding into each other. Once you are done smocking all the squares, it is now time to secure the flower petals. Pin the edges of the smocking work by folding each flower petal end as shown in the video. This will require 2 pins per petal end. It is important that once pinned together, the fabric lays down nice and flat. It should not be too tight with too much tension or too loose and wobbly. I personally like to use the grid as a guide, as when done correctly the 1 inch lines on the left side and right side of the petal should match each other in the center where the folds meet. For the next step, use your sewing machine to sew around all 4 sides to secure the petals with a 1 inch or 2.5 cm seam allowance. Or use 2 inch or 5.1 cm allowance if you added the additional seam allowance for the pattern piece. Make sure to use the widest stitch on your machine, as some parts will have to be unpicked later on when the bag has been fully constructed. As you will see, I push the flower petals a bit flat with my hands right before feeding them through the machine. This will prevent them from getting stuck in the sewing machine foot. We are ready to start constructing the bag. Place and pin the back front and back pattern piece, which is pattern piece number 2, on the finished floral smoked piece, and cut the piece to the back shape. Make sure to cut both the front and back piece symmetrically to each other. The back front and back pattern piece is placed about half an inch or 1.3 centimeters from the bottom of the floral smoked piece, or this would be 1/2 inch or 3.8 centimeters if you added the extra allowance. Please also note that as floral smocking is hand sewn work, there is a chance of minor deviations. So please check and place the pattern piece in a way that works with your smocking work. Also, if your fabric frays easily, Make sure to add back the zigzag or overlocker stitch at the sides to secure it, and also make sure that you add the notches as indicated on the pattern piece. Next, we're going to secure the interfacing to each of the main fabric pattern pieces. These are the back, front and back pieces, bottom piece and side pieces. Sew this in with a 3/8 of an inch or 1 cm seam allowance using the widest stitch on your machine. The pattern uses non-fusible interfacing, which is sewn into the back. This has been chosen because if you put an iron on the floral smocking, it will flatten. However, you can also use fusible interfacing, just don't iron it to the floral pieces but sew it in. Once you're done securing the interfacing, you can put the side and bottom pieces to the side for now. Take one of the lining pieces of the back, front or back. Put the zipper right side up on the right side of the top part of one of the lining pieces and pin to the top curved part of the lining. Leave at least 1 inch excess zipper on each side. This will help to make sure the zipper gets fully incorporated into the back. At this stage, you can also cut off any excess of the zipper if it is a very long one, but as mentioned, it is recommended to still leave the 1 inch extra on each side. Sew the zipper to the top curved part of the lining using an 1/8 of an inch or 0.3 cm seam allowance. Please note that you are sewing this to the full curve of the piece, but not to the entire top seam in this step. The remainder of the top seam will be sewn together with the top of the side piece to form a gusset at one of the later steps. Place one of the floral smocked pieces on top of the lining and zip, with the right side facing down. Pin together to the top curved part. Make sure the notches match. Sew the full top curved part of the floral smocked piece to the zipper and lining using a 1/4 inch or 0.6 cm seam allowance. Trim the excess interfacing away from the seam allowance between the zipper and the top of the floral smocked piece. Snip some small cuts to the side of the zipper to which you have just sewn the pattern pieces. This will help you get a smooth curve for the top stitching in the next step. However, make sure you do not accidentally cut in the seam you just sewn. Now we're folding the pieces open so that the right side of the floral smocked piece is facing upwards, the zipper sticking out on the top and the lining behind facing the wrong side of the floral smocked piece. Lightly press the pieces around the zipper and top stitch the floral smocked piece to the zipper and lining with an 1/8 of an inch or 0.3 cm seam allowance. Take the other front or back lining piece and place this piece behind the lining already sewn on with the right sides facing each other. Pin the top curved part of the lining piece to the other side of the zipper. Make sure the notches match. Similar to the previous step, sew the full curved part of the lining to the zipper using an 1/8 of an inch or 0.3 cm seam allowance. Place the second floral smocked piece on top of the first floral smocked piece with the right sides facing each other, so the wrong side of the second floral smocked piece is facing upwards. Pin the curved part to the piece of the part of the zipper to which you have just sewn the lining to. Make sure the notches match. At this step, cross-check that both the floral smocked front and back pieces are placed symmetrically to each other. Sew the curved part of the floral smocked piece to the zipper and lining using a 1/4 inch or 0.6 cm seam allowance. Once done, trim off the excess interfacing at the top and clip the zipper side as previously done. Now fold the pieces open so that the right side of the floral smocked pieces is facing upwards, the lining is behind each piece facing the wrong side of the floral smocked piece and the zipper is in the middle. Lightly press the pieces around the zipper and top stitch the second floral smocked piece with an 1/8 of an inch or 0.3 cm seam allowance. Next, we're going to prepare the back sides and bottom of the main fabric. Pin the wider ends of the two back sides to each of the ends of the back bottom, with the right sides facing each other. Sew together using 3/8 of an inch or 1 cm seam allowance. Once done, cut off the excess interfacing between the seams just sewn. Fold and press the seams to the sides of the back bottom piece and top stitch the seams to the bottom using an 1/8 of an inch or 0.3 cm seam allowance. Next, pin the back sides and bottom piece just sewn to one side of the floral smocked piece with the right sides facing each other. Make sure that the side and middle notches match. Then sew this together using 3/8 of an inch or 1 cm seam allowance. From this step onwards, it is important to make sure that the zipper is partially unzipped. Open it for about 3/4 of the length. If the zipper is fully closed, you're going to struggle turning the back at the final steps. Now pin the back sides and bottom piece to the other floral smocked piece, with the right sides facing each other inside. Make sure the notches match. Then sew this together using 3/8 of an inch or 1 cm seam allowance. Trim away the excess interfacing between the seams just sewn and cut some small snips to the seams around the back side corners. As you will note, I forgot to trim the interfacing for the sides here. Make sure you do trim this down. I end up trimming mine at the end when I realized I forgot it. We're now going to prepare the lining sides and bottom. Start by taking one of the back bottoms and sew a 3/16 of an inch or 0.5 cm rolled hem on one of the short sides of the piece. Please note this is 3/16 of an inch or 0.5 cm folded twice. If you're not using the plastic sheet, you will only need one back bottom piece and can skip this step. Sew the piece you just hemmed to the other back bottom with 3/8 of an inch or 1 cm allowance. Sew around all edges except for the side with the rolled hem. The wrong side of the piece with the hem is facing the right side of the second back bottom piece. Now pin the lining of the two back sides on each of the ends of the back bottom lining piece just finished, with the right sides facing each other. Sew each side together using 3/8 of an inch or 1 cm seam allowance. Pin the lining for the back sides and bottom piece just sewn to one side of the lining of the back front or back piece, with the right sides facing each other. Make sure the sides and middle notches match. Sew together using 3/8 of an inch or 1 cm seam allowance. Now pin the back sides and bottom lining to the other side of the lining for the back front or back piece, with the right sides facing each other. However, we're now going to leave a turning gap in the middle of the bottom of 4 inch or 10 centimeters. Make sure the side and middle notches do match. Sew together using 3/8 of an inch or 1 cm seam allowance, but do not sew the turning gap. Next, we're going to prepare the strap or clutch zipper tab. The method will be the same. Iron a fold in the middle of the length of the strap, and on each side of the length iron a 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter crease. The fold or iron lines are also indicated with the grey dashes on the pattern. Place the interfacing on the wrong side of the strap or tab main fabric piece as shown in the video. As you will see, it essentially fits right within one of the folds just ironed. Now fold the 3/8 inch or 1 centimeter seams to the inside, so no raw edges are showing. Press the seams. Sew the seam using 1/16 of an inch or 1 to 2 millimeter allowance. Also, top stitch the other side of the strap using the same allowance. If you're making the clutch or toiletry bag, you will now fold the zipper tab lengthwise in half so the raw edges meet each other, and secure together at the end with a 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. Repeat this step for the other zipper tab as well. Now put the strap in the hole where the gussets meet, so the strap goes inside the bag. Push the strap through one side and pull the end to the other side. Double check and make sure the strap didn't get twisted. The raw edge of the strap should be aligned with the top of the side panel of the bag. If you're making the clutch or toiletry bag, you will place one of each zipper tab in each of the holes where the gussets meet. Similar to the strap, the raw edges will be aligned with the top of the side panel. This is the more tricky part of the pattern, so it is important to do this diligently. We're now going to secure the remainder of the top of the bag front and back pieces seam allowance to the top of the side piece. We're going to sandwich the strap or zipper tab in between these pieces and are going to form a gusset. With the strap or zipper tab centered across the zipper, bring the top of the back front or back piece of the main fabric and the top of the side piece together, so that the unsewn section of the back front or back piece matches the side piece. Pin these together on both sides. Now we're going to repeat the same folding steps for the lining fabric. It's very important to make sure that all the raw edges have been folded together at this stage. If not, they're going to show on the outside of the bag. Now, sew each side together using a 3/8 of an inch or 1 centimeter seam allowance. For this step, you could also use basting stitches and then properly sew together once you are happy after checking the bag at the next step. It is now time to turn the bag right side out through the lining hole. Double check the bag that all looks correctly and make sure all seams have been caught and sewn in around the gusset and strap area. Make any adjustments if this is not the case. When you are happy with the bag, Turn the back outside in and trim any excess seams and bulk around the gusset and strap area. If you were using basting stitches at the previous step, you can now secure the area using normal stitches. Make sure to do this before trimming this area down for excess bulk. Turn the back right side out again. Fold the lining outside the back and sew the turning gap in the lining to close. You can either machine stitch this with 1/16 of an inch or 1 to 2 millimeters allowance, or hand sew together for a cleaner look. If using the plastic sheet, you can now place this in the lining pocket at the bottom of the bag. Is now finished. As final steps, double check for any loose threads to cut off, remove any visible basting stitches around the floral smocking, and steam the bag to remove erasable pen marks. Hold the iron above the flowers and steam them, but never put the weight of the iron directly on the flowers, as this will flatten them. Well done for finishing this beautiful floral smock bag. I hope you found the tutorial helpful, and please don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.